Is everyone ready? Everyone's good? Mic check? All right. So I'm Jamela Nay. I'm the spokesperson for the Tampa Police Department. We're here today to discuss the murder in the case of the 14-year-old Nilexia Alexander. Here to speak on the case today, we have Deputy Chief Calvin Johnson, State Attorney Andrew Warren, and we also have Nilexia's mother here, Ashley. We also like to thank Patricia, Derek, and Jay, Rise Up for Peace, for their support for being here today as well.
Yesterday afternoon, the Tampa Police Department, the U.S. Marshals Task Force, arrested 44-year-old Ronny Walker and charged him with the premeditated murder of 14-year-old Nilexia Alexander. On May 6, at 3:58 in the morning, the Tampa Police Department responded to a 911 call that a female lay unresponsive in a vacant field in the 100 block of Floribraska. The witness who called reported hearing gunfire and went outside and saw a young female laying on the ground and called 911 for help. The officers responded to the scene, and from that moment on, Tampa Police Department worked tirelessly to bring this individual to justice. We have zero tolerance for gun crime, especially when it involves the life of a young juvenile in the city of Tampa. From the minute this investigation started, we partnered with our community, our state attorney's office, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and the U.S. Marshals Task Force to identify and apprehend the killer of Nilexia Alexander. I want to thank our homicide squad. Those detectives worked tirelessly to bring this person to justice. As a parent, I know that this will never take away that deep sense of loss that Ashley and her family feel that their daughter will never come home to them again. As a police department, we hope this arrest provides some sense of closure for the family, knowing that this violent criminal is behind bars.
Good morning, everyone. Yesterday's arrest of the man who murdered Nilexia Alexander is a step towards justice. You've heard me say this before. The state attorney's office and our law enforcement partners place the highest priority on solving and prosecuting violent crime. Violent crime poses the greatest risk to community safety, and we will do whatever work is necessary to solve these cases and put the criminals who prey on innocent people behind bars. Today, you're seeing the results of that work. Tampa police detectives pored over evidence for the last 2 months, following all the leads, working meticulously and relentlessly to solve this case. And my office stood side by side with them throughout the investigation, strategizing, obtaining search warrants, and searching for answers. The partnership between our two agencies, as well as the other law enforcement agencies involved in this case, continue to produce results for our community, and you see that today. Now, this is still an open and ongoing investigation, and so today I can't release all the information that we have about the case, and I may not be able to provide additional specific information. But we are still encouraging anyone with information about Nilexia's murder to come forward. This case is going to be prosecuted. This case is going to be complicated. But TPD has done great work to make an arrest and to put our office in a position now to prosecute Nilexia's killer. We're going to take over the prosecution of this case. We're going to go where the evidence and the law take us, and we will seek justice for Nilexia, for Ashley, and for all of Nilexia's family and friends who are devastated by this crime. Thank you.
First, I want to thank God. I want to thank God for this day. I pray and prayed. I prayed that this day would come, they would get him off the streets. I thank God. I thank God to tell him let's go. Tampa Police Department detectives, I thank y'all. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. The community, the tips, I thank you all. I thank everyone who was able to bring this person to justice. I thank you. It won't bring my baby girl back, but it will give me some peace that he's off the streets and a little bit of closure. This is just the beginning. This is our beginning.
Understand that this is still an ongoing investigation, and at this point in time, we're going to open the floor for questions. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Chief, why do you use the term premeditated in this case? Can you describe at all why you're saying this was not a spur of the moment, but something that was apparently planned?
The premeditated part of it that we have so far throughout the investigation is based on the evidence that we have regarding what occurred that night during the incident.
So this was not something that had been planned for days and days, but something that developed over the course of the night?
From the evidence that we've gotten so far that led to the day, it led us to that charge of premeditation. Yes, part of that was on the media release. Information that we got from the vehicle and DNA helped lead us to where we're at today. It's still an ongoing investigation. I don't want to get into those details, but just understand that part of the investigation that we got led us here today.
Do we know if there's a prior relationship between the suspect and Nilexia?
I don't want to go into too much detail on that. It's an open investigation still. And please understand the nature of this case and what the family has to deal with. So I don't want to go too far into the investigation, but it's still an ongoing work in progress as far as working this case all the way through prosecution.
State Attorney, do you mind for a second? This is someone who has been in trouble before, allegedly for something heinous. Can you say a little bit about why he was back out on the streets and what their hopes are for this time and keeping him away forever? But first, why he was out?
Sure. So Ronny Walker was charged in 2009 with murder in the second degree. He went to trial and he was convicted of a lesser charge of manslaughter back in 2010. That conviction was overturned on appeal, and ultimately he was sentenced to 8 years in prison. He was released from prison. He violated his probation in 2017, received another 4 years on top for his violation of probation.
He received 40 years?
Four.
40.
4.
Is this an example of the system failing, or how do you account for the fact that someone went through the system and then is capable of doing this again?
Sure. Well, I mean, the reality is that most people who go through the criminal justice system don't go to prison for life. And had he been convicted back in 2010 of murder 2, then maybe it would have been different. If there weren't appellate issues in the case, maybe it wouldn't have been different. That's the same in any situation, in any type of case. Prosecution is complicated. And back in 2010. I have confidence that the state attorney's office did everything they could to convict him of the charge against him. He was ultimately convicted of a lesser charge, and this sentence reflected that.
And this time, do you believe you're gonna have a strong enough case to keep him away for a long, long time?
I can't comment on the strength of the case or any specifics. I do that in order to protect the integrity of the prosecution, to make sure that due process is upheld. I'll tell you this, TPD, the Marshals Task Force, FTLE, did yeoman's work in putting this case together and identifying the murderer, and to bring us to this point where we can now start the prosecution process. Again, prosecution is complicated, and the fact that we get here today never guarantees a conviction. It never guarantees an outcome. All it guarantees is that we have a fight to achieve justice for Ashley and her family. It was, I believe he actually violated by drinking alcohol. He had a technical violation, but because of the violent nature of the prior offense, our office in 2017 thought that we shouldn't overlook a technical violation, something like that. He ended up getting an additional 4 years. So half of what he had originally received for the manslaughter. Can't get into the investigative work done together to apprehend the suspect. Tell you that our law enforcement agencies commonly work together to make sure that we are doing everything possible to keep this community safe.
One thing that we're always asking for as a police department, and this goes really throughout the nation in law enforcement, is the community's help. I want to thank them today, giving us the tips, helping us out in this case. We work with a lot of organizations. Some of the leaders in those organizations have gone through trauma themselves. Rise Up for Peace with Jay Johnson and Miss Patricia. We've been on a journey with them. Our challenge with violent crime in the city of Tampa and beyond is a challenge to where we're going to need partners in order to bring down this, I call it, society issue with guns and gun violence. I hope that whoever's listening out there in the community, we need you. We got like 1,000 officers. We cannot do this job without your help and the help of organizations like Rise Up for Peace. Thank you.
Any other information we had to provide, we'll do it after the press conference. Thank you.